Hey everybody, and welcome back to the C1 Risk vlog. Yes, it's true. We're still trying to think of a catchy name for our cybersecurity vlog. So if you have any ideas, keep it clean. Post them in the comments below. Thank you. And don't forget to follow and subscribe to our channel, C1 Risk, and come and visit us at c1risk.com. Okay, so on this vlog that we still don't have a name for, we try to cover everything from cybersecurity and governance, risk and compliance, as we are a full suite, fully automated, integrated governance, risk and compliance, or integrated risk management solution for all of your cybersecurity needs. So we cover everything cybersecurity, GRC, everything related from trends in the industry, tips for getting into the industry, and of course, as we're doing today, knowledge sharing, looking at some best practices for risk compliance, governance, incident management, business continuity, so on and so forth. All those things that help keep your company going behind the scenes that you never get any thanks for as a cybersecurity team or information security team. So today we're going to be mostly focusing on compliance, and we're just going to do a quick demo training of our tool and talk a little bit about risk management as it relates to compliance as well. So first we're going to be looking at showing you how to segment controls in the platform for applicability, so how you can actually create your statement of applicability, whether your controls are in scope or not. And then secondly, as I said, we'll just talk a little bit about how we believe that leading with risk, you can actually create a much more efficient compliance program. And in just a minute or less, we'll show you quickly how to do that in the C1 Risk platform. So, all right, so let's start and get on with it and get on in. So here we are on the front page. Note we have single sign-on for you, so very, very easy to use this tool. And let's go on into the platform and start the demo. Great, so here we are. And so what we're going to do first is just a practical demo where we're going to show you how to set up your statement of applicability. So if you're doing ISO 27001, or if you're doing something like SOC 2 certification, there are certain controls that may or may not be in scope for you from a compliance perspective. So one way to do that is to segment those out using the applicability function in the tool. So we're going to go into obligations. We'll go into ISO today, and we'll be focusing on ISO 27001. So here you see the obligation here. This is the standard ISO 27001. And as we come into our control library, you'll see all of your ISO requirements here. So this is actually straight from the ISO 27001 documentation. Quick note, don't forget ISO 27001 is set to update. We're expecting that in and around September, or let's say Q4 of 2022. 27002 did of course update in March, and so those new changes are coming. We'll have those in our system for you. We automatically update those in our GRC library. So once you come into your controls, again, just a very practical demo here, you want to select which ones are applicable to you. So here we're just going to go through. Obviously it'll probably be a slightly longer process to do that than the way I'm doing it here, but note you can select them one at a time. We can take all of them if they're all applicable, or we can do a group select by just doing the shift key and grabbing and grouping. So we take the ones that we need. Ultimately, you can do this in a group like this or one at a time, and then all we're going to do is we're just going to click add SOA, and we'll select whether they are applicable or not. Now don't forget, for ISO you do have to demonstrate why they're applicable or why they're not applicable, so you have to write a statement in both directions. So we enable you to do that here. So then what we're going to do is we're just going to select the ones that are applicable. And now once I've done that, I can actually segment out. I'm just going to add applicability to my list view here. And now I can see which ones I'm going to be working with. And so then a quick way to start compliance in CyberOne is we're just going to grab those controls, and I'll just go through very quickly. And what we want to do is we want to bring those over to our internal control library, which we have here in our compliance module. So all I'm going to do is I'm just going to click copy to IC. And now what you'll see is you have all of these controls that have been moved over into my internal controls, and now I can start developing them out as actual internal controls. So how do we do that? So we're going, what you'll see when you'll go in is you'll see the actual ISO control. Note that it's actually mapped to the ISO control as well. And so if I then go back to the control library, I can actually add a statement. If I need to actually add a statement, then I can just change the SOA and then I can add that statement here. And then going back to that internal control, note that now I can edit and then add in my actual internal implementation of this ISO control. So that's how we do applicability, very quick and simple. So again, from the control library, from your GIC library, I'll just go into any one, you have the option to just add your applicability. You can bring those over into internal controls and then write your statement of applicability in to any control by just going to the control library, and there you are. Okay. All right, so another way to think about how you're actually going to approach defining which controls are in scope for you then is actually from that risk management perspective. And again, we're just going to spend a quick minute on this. So in CyberOne, as you know, if you're a customer or as you're just learning now, we think of the methodology, we think of GRC from a methodology standpoint of ARCI. So that's assets in scope, risks associated to those assets, and then controls. So what we encourage our companies to do is as they come in and begin their compliance, to actually think about what could be their risks first. So actually lead with risk. That's what we say, lead with risk. Say it with me, lead with risk. And so as we define and bring in the assets that are in scope, those things that we want to protect that belong to the company, then what we want to say is, okay, well, so what are the risks associated with those assets? And so then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to, in my risk module here, I'm going to create a risk register. And then from that risk register with the asset, I can look that up and just add the risks that apply. Now you see I've got these attached. And then what I'm also going to do in my risk register is based upon that, I'm actually going to start defining internal controls that then help combat that risk. So I can do it that way, or again, based on the risks that I've identified, I can actually then I can also add internal controls that I already have in place by just doing a lookup and adding what's germane. And this way, this is going to give you a better idea of what you actually need from a risk perspective, what kind of controls you actually need from a risk perspective to properly manage your assets. Now, there's a lot more to it than this. We haven't talked about the value of those assets, the risk, the inherent risk impact versus residual risk impact. So we'll go into that in a much more detailed training. But today we just wanted you to think about that. It's very, very easy, and a lot of companies come to us and you know, they need to get SOC 2 certification, or they need to do ISO certification because somebody from business development or sales like me is pushing them for a sale, and they need to show that they've got some kind of security certification. And their immediate instinct, if they haven't got a lot of security in place, is to just dive in, take a look at the requirement that they're working with, and just say, oh well, I've got to come into, I've got to satisfy all of these 114 requirements for ISO, right, or more sometimes. So what we say is, okay, just take a step back, identify your risks. It doesn't take that much more time. Of course, at C1 Risk, we have that service as well where we'll help you build out your risk register. That's something we offer as part of our support services. And that way, as you identify your risks, you can have a much more efficient compliance program because you're going to really understand which controls are most valuable to you. That's going to save you time. That's going to save you money on the implementation side. We always say to our customers, and I'll leave you with this, You know, it's one thing to get certification, whether that's SOC, whether that's CMMC, whether that's ISO, PCI, whatever it is. It's one thing to get that compliance in place. It's a whole other thing to maintain it. That continuous security that you're aiming for to make sure that your company is safe at all times, or as safe as possible at all times, really starts with effective risk management and understanding what you need to do and what's at stake. Okay? So there endeth the lesson for today, and thank you for joining us on the C1 Risk Yet to Be Named blog. Again, send your comments below, any questions, any requests for information. Please write to us below or contact us at support@c1risk.com or go to our website c1risk.com. Have a great day. Thank you very much.